Welcome to Globalpose News. A former Manchester City footballer is set to be appointed president on Saturday by Georgia's disputed parliament, after 16 days of pro-EU protests that have swept this country's towns and cities. Mikhail Kavalashvili, now 53, is a former MP from the increasingly authoritarian ruling Georgian Dream Party and the only candidate for the job. The four main opposition groups have rejected Kavalashvili and have boycotted parliament, insisting that the elections held in October were rigged. Georgia's outgoing pro-Western president, Salome Zurabishvili, has condemned Kavalashvili's election as a travesty, insisting she holds Georgia's only remaining legitimate institution. Prime Minister Irakli Kobakids has accused the president of trying to harm Georgia's interests, emphasizing that when her term of office ends on the 29th of December, she will have to retire. "We have very strong state institutions, so we certainly have no difficulty in bringing the situation under full control," he was quoted as saying on Friday. Party colleague Nino Silasani told reporters that Zurabishvili was no longer president in the eyes of the public. Protests against Georgian Dream began immediately after the October elections, but they burst into life on the 28th of November when the government announced it was putting EU accession negotiations on hold until 2028. An overwhelming majority of Georgians back the country's path to the European Union, and it is part of the constitution. Every night, the main avenue outside Parliament fills with protesters draped in EU flags, demanding new elections. Saturday's vote in Parliament is expected to take several hours and prompt a spike in anti-government protests. It will involve a direct ballot by a 300-member electoral college made up of MPs and local officials loyal to Georgian Dream from around the country. Ahead of the vote, the capital Tbilisi was convulsed on Friday by pop-up protests involving IT specialists, public sector workers, creative industry professionals, actors and lawyers. "We are standing here to create a legal state once and for all, to respect the provisions of the Constitution and human rights," said lawyer David Kikalashvili. Kavalashvili is a founder of the People's Power Party, known for being the main voice for anti-Western propaganda in Georgia. He has accused opposition parties of acting as a fifth column directed from abroad, and described President Zurabishvili as a chief agent. Kavalashvili moved into politics after he was disqualified from seeking the leadership of the Georgian Football Federation because he lacked the qualifications. Although his party ran alongside Georgian Dream in the October elections, it has now decided to act in parliament as a healthy opposition, to fill the place of the so-called radical opposition funded by foreign forces. Georgian Dream, founded by billionaire businessman and former Georgian PM Bidzina Ivanishvili, has been accused of dragging the country back into Russia's sphere of influence. Both the EU and US have condemned the government for democratic backsliding, and more than 460 people have been detained across Georgia over the past 2 weeks, according to Transparency International. For more updates, news, views from around the globe, follow us on all our social media platforms at Globalpose.